Hello, everyone. Hi, I am Robin Naughton. I'm from the New York Academy of Medicine. I am head of digital there, and I work for the library. And I'm going to talk a bit about what I do, and in particular, I'm going to focus on kind of a digitization project. So much of what I do is try to digitize materials and make them publicly available. This is our rare book room. We're not that far from here. We're like down the street, literally. And if you're ever interested in seeing or learning more about any of the medical texts that we have, any of the rare materials that we have, feel free to get in touch with us and come on in and check it out. We also do kind of a first Monday. So if you're in the neighborhood, it's Monday at noon on the first Monday of the month. Stop by the lobby and someone will take you up and show you the rare book room. So anytime. So what I'm going to talk about today is really digitization, our digital lab, and digital collections in general. In Islandora is the system that we use to build digital collections. And one project that we worked on is called Facendo el Libro. And that project really combines a lot of what we do. So this is a general workflow. So when you think about digitization, so the idea is that, okay, we want to take a text, we want to digitize it, and we want to make it publicly available. The general workflow is that someone proposes an idea, and that could be internally at the library, or that can be externally outside the library, depending on what we are interested in and what we'd like to do. And based on that proposal, we do a type of idea analysis. Is this feasible? Can we fund this? What do we have that supports this? How do we build it? And that puts us into thinking about our collection and what our collection has to offer to others, and how do we use that and how do we digitize that. Once we've determined that, then we make material selection. So how do we select the materials? What materials will really go into this? And then this breaks down into multiple additional processes that we look at and we try to take care of. So cataloging, really big part of the library world. And so you want to make sure that that piece of it is handled. Metadata creation, much of this work, particularly when you're creating digital collections and digital sites, metadata is a critical component to that, and being able to get things in a state where you can really showcase the collection and showcase what needs to happen there. And conservation, a big part of rare materials and materials in general is thinking about conservation and preservation. How do we conserve this material, and how do we make sure that this material stays intact through the digitization process so that it's not damaged in any way? And coming out at the end of it, we have a really good quality physical object that remains and a digital object that we can share with others. And then that brings us to scanning, preparing for scanning, and going through the post-production process, doing quality control, a lot of traditional software development processes at this point, and building a digital site to really display this information and showcase it to the world. So how did we do that? When I started at the Academy, one of the things that we wanted to do is to digitize some of our rare materials. And our rare materials, one of the important thing about it is some of them really should not be leaving the building because they're so rare. Some of them are very fragile, and you want to make sure that you really take care of what that material is and where it's going. So we built a digital lab to do some of this work. And in putting this together, it's really about, trying to capture the images and the pages and the book in its entirety in a way that we really could show it to others and really have someone who is unable to come to the library or unable to spend time with the material have access in such a way that they really can enjoy what the book has to offer. Granted, digitization doesn't solve the physical and the tangible of this material. So if you want to touch it and you really want to feel it and understand the material in that way, you'll come to the library. But if you have time, you have the opportunity to really explore it before coming to the library. So this is our digital collection site, and it showcases the materials, the raw materials we've digitized. And I know earlier there was a Vesalius display, so there is a Vesalius that has been digitized that's here. So if you are interested in that, you can go there. And we're trying to really do a lot of the medical texts. We have cookery texts. The Apicius is one of the oldest cookbooks in the West, as our curator says. And so if you're interested in these kinds of texts, you can come here and you can look at it directly as it is created. And this slide is very specifically about Islandora. And Islandora is the system that we use to display our digital collection. And this hamburger display is very much from the Islandora Foundation. And one of the things that it showcases is that we have this multi-layered setup that really takes into consideration our back end, which is the repository system, and our front end, which is a Drupal system. And Islandora sits and talks between. So Islandora functions as this middleware between the Fedora back-end system and the Drupal front end with a really robust search system so that you can do many things with it and you can customize as much as you like. It is an open source system, which really helps us because that means that there is a community, a very active community that's out there that is building, creating, and making it possible to do many different things in cultural heritage and display for them. And so for Chindo El Libro, this is a collection that we put together in two ways. So the first way that we did this collection is that to do it in a traditional digital collection format. So if you travel to our website, you will see this collection. It gives you a brief description of what it is, as well as show you the editions. And for Chindo El Libro, the goal of this particular project, it is 5 editions of the Fasciculus Medicina. And these 5 editions span from 1492 to 1522. And one of the things we wanted to highlight is, what does this mean? What has changed over time in terms of these editions, and how do we represent that? And to get to that contextual piece, we created an online exhibit, of which I will take you into now.
This is going to be hard. So now your mouse is up.
Okay. Is it up?
Yeah. 1 minute.
Oh, I can do it there. I can't see.
You kind of have to keep it on the right side.
All right. So with this online exhibit, what you're able to do is, one, you can go into each edition and see the digitization in its entirety. When we digitize this item, we really wanted to showcase exactly what it is. And one thing that in our digitization process we did, we really took the importance of the object and to display that object. And this particular instance shows you not only that this edition was bound with another text, so this edition starts in the middle of the text, and you can visually see what that means. So if you come to the library and say, oh, I want to see the 1500, you're not surprised that there's going to be a giant text for you to look through and see the images. One thing that we try to do is really try to replicate that experience of going through the book and really seeing it and enjoying it. The other thing that we try to do with this particular project was pull out the illustrations. And we did this because one of the important things about the shift is the change in illustration over time with these editions. So with each edition, there's a slight modification or change in the way the illustrations were done. And we wanted to really highlight all the illustrations so you can see all the illustrations from the items. And if you go into any of these illustrations, you can also see which illustration, which image came with which edition of the book. And if you want to get really into it, you can then spend some time going in and zooming in as much as you like. Oh, you know. And yes, as much as you like, and really see and really see what that's all about. I'm gonna stop there, and I will to say there is more. But overall, in terms of thinking about digitization and thinking about representing the text online and making it publicly available so anyone can access this and really go into it, one of the things that I try to do is just to make sure that we really do get as close to a replica of the physical as we can, so that users who are experiencing this are experiencing it as close as they can digitally, and make it a little more interactive and really try to share information with them. We'll stop there. Thanks.